was not supposed to, the head wasn't supposed to fall down like that. Mizutsune! Mizutsune! Tama's Mizutsune! Do any of you remember when you'd fight Legiacris in the arena, the land arena, it would just fall from the sky? I don't even have footage of this, I just remember it happened, and it was hilarious. I think that's how Mizutsune would spawn as well. Like, it would just fall from the sky, from if my memory serves me correctly. That's what I dropped it. You get it. Today is the Mizutsune showcase video. So, I said it before, I'm still pretty unhappy with my current setup. Like, I'd like to have like a light box or something. I'm gonna keep experimenting with my setup with different lighting techniques and different microphone setups so that we have something better. So I built this model earlier this year. This is based on the Stories rendition, the one from Monster Hunter Stories 2. The model from Generations or Rise just has too much variation in the color tone, and as you move down the body, the color blocking is a little bit complex. There really isn't color blocking. A lot of the colors just flow into each other, and it's easier for me to do color blocking when I use the Stories version, because the Stories version has a simplified color palette, and obviously I don't want to paint pieces. I want this to be a purist build, and so I have to think of solutions, and the solution was to use the color scheme of Monster Stories 2. I think I pulled it off quite well despite the challenges that come with this build. Okay, I just changed the white balance to be super blue, and I think it looks a lot nicer, so that's why suddenly the color just changed. Yep, Jacob, the most unprofessional video maker in the world. Alright, time for a quick size comparison. Here is my hunter minifigure. Well, it's not really a hunter, but I gave him a sword so that you can see the size difference. So he's a good size overall next to minifigures. Maybe a little bit big. Maybe they're all crown size. If you give your hunter lots of armor and a big weapon, it'll look pretty alright in comparison. And just for the sake of comparison, here is a random Bionicle. If you have other action figures, it scales pretty well. I would say with like an anime figure or another action figure, Mizutsune comes off looking almost like a magic pet in comparison. So the sizing is all right. I should also maybe like compare with like small gachapon figures. Do I have one on hand? So if you have a small gachapon figure like this, that's a pretty accurate. Like an anime figure about that size. That's relatively accurate. So next is the posability of the model here. So the neck can go up and down. It can rotate. There's a lot of posability in the neck. The fins move a little bit. You can move them in, move them out, move them up, move them down. These little things can move. What's great is that the mouth can fully close like that. And when the mouth fully closes, it makes a snapping sound, just like the actual animal. There's a little sound. I'll let you hear it. Which I think is very important, because Leviathans have strong jaws. They all have strong jaws. They all make a snapping sound when they use their jaws, and it's something that all Leviathans have. If it had like a stronger bite, like if I was able to somehow spring load it, that'd be awesome. And if they ever released an actual Mizutsune toy, that would be a great thing to add. Snapping feature. All the limbs have movement back and forth out. I did not put elbows or knees in, and that's because it's simply unnecessary. I know a lot of people like tons of posability in their models, but for some models like this, it really isn't needed, because you can get most of the action poses that you are looking for with the bend already there. It just makes the model more unstable. There's some poses and actions that simply don't need the extra articulation in order to execute, and one of those is elbows and knees. They're just unnecessary, so I did not include them. I'm sure you could probably customize them to include them. But the other thing is it also makes the limbs too long. In order to add the joints, you have to make them longer, or you have to use very weak joints, And so I felt that for the sturdiness of the model, for the playability of the model, it's just better that I don't give extra joints in the arms and the legs. I think that it's unnecessary. All the individual little fingers are posable. Mizutsune grabs something if you wanted to. I don't know, maybe a fish. They like to eat fish, right? The tail lacks a little bit in posability, similar to Zynoger. You can move the tail up pretty far, farther than Zynoger, and you can of course move it down. You can actually like wrap Mizutsune up just a little bit. But when it comes to side, bending down this way, this is about as best as you're gonna get before you actually start dislocating some joints. So it's unfortunate because it means that Mizutsune cannot roll up into a ball like it does when it sleeps. The ability to at least move the tail back and forth a little bit is nice because I know it uses its tail to brush up the bubbles in some of its attacks. The weight sort of lets it fall, and that's something that just comes with like Lego bricks. When you have them large chunks together, it usually has a weight to it. The good thing is that Mizutsune typically holds a position like this, where it's long and lengthy, and when you go to face it in battle, usually it's in a pose like this. It usually maneuvers and walks around in a pose like this. So being able to hit this pose is what was most important. That's what was most important. Overall, it's quite sturdy. There's some weak points. I know this kept falling off while making the video, but the whole legs can fall off if you really pull on them. The digital model is a little bit sturdier. I've this physical model that I've assembled uses some weaker pieces, but some of the strategies I used on the digital model for the instructions is a lot sturdier. The tail is a little bit weak, where this whole section will come off pretty easily. Predictably, the head is also quite weak. The head fins can all pop off. It's good for play, because you could say, oh, the hunter has like broken the head fins, which is neat. And I think that as a play feature is great, but if you don't want them to fall off, then it can be a little bit annoying. The only issues I have with this build are minor ones that have to do with part availability, and as I said before, in the instructions, the version that you'll see in the instructions is the best version of this. There's little slight differences, like these pieces are changed out and whatnot. As always, my Patreon has all the instructions for the builds I show off in these videos, and the parts lists, and a guide on how to buy the parts. If you become a second tier membership supporter of my channel, then you gain access to all my instructions. I recently set up a bonus Apsaros build for, you know, the two Apsaros fans that are out there and wanted to build their own little Apsaros, which I know is like no one, but I did it anyway. I wanted to mention that, like Zynoger, I did not do the deviant version of Mizutsune. I did not do Soul Seer Mizutsune, and that's simply because they are way too similar in design, aside from the one sans eye. If you see the instructions, and even if I zoom in really quick, you can see how I have done the eyes. The way I have the eyes attached, the process simply would not work. I can't have it so that there's one eye, or that the eyes are closed. It's impossible. The eyes are one solid piece, and it's actually all held together. This is the one big illegal connection on the build. It's just held together by the other pieces. It's just sitting there. Like, it won't fall out. Like, I can lift it upside down, it won't fall out. That the eyes aren't even attached, so it's just Soul Seer would not be possible. There's another illegal connection in the head. Actually, the ball joint piece that connects the head to the neck goes into the brick here, which is considered an illegal connection. It doesn't really stress the pieces that much. Don't worry too much about that. I've done it for years and it's fine. So yeah, again, overall, I'm very happy with this build. I like Mizutsune a lot, and I was very happy to honor it with this build. Mizutsune is a fox. It's based off the Kitsune mythology, I believe. And the Kitsune normally has multiple tails, and I feel that with the fins and the fluffy tail in the end, it sort of fills in for the multiple tails of the kitsune. It's really interesting how they integrated those aspects of the mythical animal into the rules of what we consider leviathans in Monster Hunter, all while being very anime, which is very fitting for the portable series. When Monster Hunter Cross was announced, Mizutsune was my favorite of the Fated Four. Since then, it's tied with Glavenus, but I still love it. The music theme stood out for me compared to the other songs written for the Fated Four. It was very unique. I was very happy it got a remix in Rise. It's also wonderful to see a new monster that uses water, and it's, you know, this monster is at a high level position in the game. It's comparable to Plesioth of older titles, and I can see how one could consider Mizutsune as sort of a developmental evolution of Plesioth. Though, if I had control over monster placement, I would not rank Mizutsune on the same level as Lagiacrus, as it is in Generations, or on the same level as something like Zynogra or Rathalos. Mizutsune was intended to be a flagship, so I understand why they put it at that flagship level, that apex predator level. But come on, guys, like, this is a small, unarmored, you know, fox monster compared to a, you know, Lagiacrus, which is like a massive, armored thunder crocodile monster. They're very different, and I think that, you know, Lagiacrus is more of an apex predator than Mizutsune is. Overall, though, as a, you know, as a mid-tier anime, you know, folklore-esque monster, Mizutsune is perfect. Love it. It's very unique, and it fits a great niche. Alright, thank you all for watching. Again, if you want to build your own Mizutsune, my Patreon has instructions and the parts list for the build. Or feel free to just make your own, you know, use what parts you have fun, create something new. If you make mine, or if you build your own, feel free to send me a picture of your creations to me on Twitter. I actually recently got someone recently went out and built the Aptonoff build that I created, and I was really happy to see that. Thank you for supporting me, and I really, really love to see it. It's so great to see other people build what I've built. It's wonderful. I love it. I want to thank my patrons for helping me and pushing me to make content like this. I'm so glad I'm able to do something creative for the Monster Hunter community. I'm really, really happy. Next time, guess what monster we're doing next time? Yep. Daimyo Hermitar is next. So, hope you guys are excited about this one, because I know I am. Alright, have a good day. Bye-bye, everyone.